Hello everyone, I'm Shogun. Okay, we're gonna expand your knowledge. Because we've done a lot of work for you earlier, now we can expand a bit. First, what content are we going to cover in this expansion? Actually, here we have clients, right? This is the client we built. We can have client 1, 2, 3, 4. We run them simultaneously, since we have 4 players here. And actually here we will have a project, or rather a program. We call it DSM. DS stands for Dedicated Server. M stands for Manage Ali2 Aliperia. And here we have a persistent large world, which we call an open world. We call it an open world. Open world for all players. At the very beginning, there should be one. Possibly when they haven't started playing the game, they should be in this place. So this place is a DS, and this open world is persistent. When it starts up, it will communicate with this thing of ours. They will establish a wedge connection. Right. Then it will send some of its port information and IP information to the DSM. The DSM will record it. There is a table inside the DUSM. This information will be recorded. Okay. Then our client, the client will maintain a wet hike connection with this DSM. Then, according to our needs, we can request the current status. For example, client 1 now wants to go to open world A. So we send a request here, requesting open world A. The DSM then returns the current list information to it. Then it will select one piece of information and log into this open world. So this is where excellent network connection comes in. Because the open world and the client, they were generated using the same set of code, just like what we did in the previous video. So here I might also have an open world. For example, this is A1. Then there might also be an open world A2. It chooses on its own, this kind of persistent one. Then depending on the situation, we might also dynamically spin up an instance here. For example, this instance. Let's call it a RAID. We'll call it a RAID. So here we will spin up a RAID B, right? After spinning up RAID B will also register its information in this DSM list, and when we need it. So on the client side, the client can also request the relevant information from this DSM. For example, client 2 is currently in the open world. We give it the coordinates of the dungeon server. Then it goes into the dungeon to play. Okay, there are a few key points here. Essentially, one is that we need to establish a communication mechanism. As for our communication, it is mainly AEG 历史 H. This wedge connection, Westball connection, it actually has 2 types. One is player. That is, it corresponds to the player type. Another is DS, its identity. Then based on their identities, they have corresponding connections, right? Then ignore these heartbeats, because the heartbeat is already handled by our plugin. Then according to different communication protocols, there are corresponding protocol structs. So we need to add a layer here to define the corresponding structs and some enum definitions. For example, when you go to an open world, after the first communication is completed, we will register our current identity as a DS server. And then we are an open world. And then let the client, and then let the DSM record this information. And then when the client requests, the DSM will send the corresponding information over. And then here, after we finish this RAID B, when it is destroyed, and put the player's current equipment and goal information and return it to the DSM for simple processing. Okay, this is a relatively simple interaction flow. And here things like login, register, we delete it after payment. Not going to explain it in such a complicated way, because if you're interested in this, you'll have to explore further on your own later. Because what we're talking about now, in an actual company setting, it would definitely be more complex than this. It's just that there's a process here that single player can run through and connect this process, right? And this isn't our responsibility anyway, because we're actually only responsible for client 1. Up to this open world process, the whole series of communication protocols and DSM in between are not our responsibility. We are only responsible for parsing the relevant information for use. These things should be handled by someone else. They are encapsulated into the server. Okay. Then we will stop here briefly. Next, we will work on the DEMO we wrote in the previous lesson. We will do some work there. Okay, we will create a project called DSM here. This project will definitely be a blank project. Okay, let's stop here for now. Thank you everyone.